continuation of immunity.
Two different types of immunity.
Already innate immunity and acquired immunity completed. Then the next study concerned to the immunity is active immunity and passive immunity. Second is the passive immunity. In active immunity, antibodies are formed within our body.
Antibodies. Specific type of
Antibodies are produced by immune system, mainly B cells, with the help of a helper T cell. Helper T cell helps to B cell. The activated B cell undergo differentiate and becomes a plasma cell and a memory cell. The plasma cells are ready to secrete a specialized Y-shaped protein known as immunoglobulin. Specific type of antibodies are produced against the specific type of antigens. Here in active immunity, where antibodies are formed? Antibodies are formed within our body. So by the stimulation, how antibodies are formed in our body? By the stimulation of antigen. Antigen may be microbe, yes, okay. Then passive immunity. In active immunity, antibodies are formed within our body. Then second type B. In passive immunity, antibodies are derived from other individuals. Then such antibodies are taken in our body. Again here also two different types. In active immunity also two different types, natural active immunity and artificial active immunity. Here in passive second type of immune, in second type of immunity means in passive immunity, antibodies are obtained from other individuals. Then here also two different types. In passive immunity also artificial passive immunity and natural passive immunity. First we will take the definition of active immunity and later types. The next definition of passive immunity, then types of passive immunity. Try to understand the first, what is the meaning of active immunity? Define active immunity. Immunity is the obtained, immunity is obtained, immunity is obtained naturally. Example will take that here. Immunity is obtained exposure to antigens or exposure to the infectious pathogens or exposed to the infectious pathogens are exposed to the microbes. Immunity is obtained. When immunity is obtained naturally exposed to antigen or exposed to the infectious pathogen or exposed to the toxic microbe or infectious microbe. Then activated immune system. Already example. So try to understand. For example, a infectious pathogen or microbe or antigen entered in our body through any mode, either may be contaminated food or contaminated water or through contaminated air, through any mode that entered in our body. Which one is entered? Infectious pathogen or antigenic protein? To take that antigenic protein or maybe microbe. Then this entered pathogen or infectious microbe stimulate the immune system. Stimulate means nothing but activate the immune system. The activated immune system ready to give ready to gives response to activated immune system, it ready to gives response to the antigen through the formation of or in the formation of antibodies. We know already we have a lot of idea about the primary immune response and secondary immune response. Primary immune response is slow. For activation of immune system, what is required? For activation of immune system, what is required? It takes time for complete activation or fuller. It takes time, immune system takes time complete, it becomes effective. Once it becomes effective, it gives a effective response to the antigens, and antigens are destroyed. Yes, time is required. Where time is required? In a natural active immunity, time is needed for activation of a immune system. If once immune system becomes a very active, means nothing but immune system becomes a very effective. Okay, that here immune system becomes effective means the response is also very effective against the antigen. Then antigen is destroyed. Antigen is destroyed. We know in during antigen and antibody reaction. How antigen is destroyed? By the activities of our immune system is where antigen and antibody reaction takes place. In this way, antigens are destroyed by our immune system with the help of a production of specialized antibodies. Then second way, one more way is there. In one more way, through vaccines also, how immune system activates? Immune system also activates through vaccination. Example, vaccine contains weakened pathogen. Weakened means strong pathogen is converted into weakened pathogen. Either means example you take the bacteria. Then highly toxic microbe is converted into non-toxic. Such a microbes are injected in our body through vaccination. It is also one more way it help in activation of a immune system. Once immune system it becomes effective, or once immune system becomes active, that activated immune system is ready to fight against number of pathogens. Then sir, in this type of immunity, whether immunity is longer or shorter, आपका ओपिनियन क्या है? अब अगर हमारा इम्यून सिस्टम एक बार एक्टिव हो गया, वो एक्टिव हो गए सो इम्यून सिस्टम उसका इम्यून पावर बहुत दिन तक रहेगा या विद इन शॉर्ट टाइम में डिसअपियर हो जाएगा? बहुत दिन तक रहेगा. कौन सा टाइप ऑफ इम्यून सिस्टम? अगर एक बार इम्यून सिस्टम एक्टिव होगा कौन सा टाइप में, once immune system becomes a very active, it remains a longer time. Then next, sir, what is the next types of immunity? Sorry, types of active immunity. There are two different types. First one is natural active immunity. Natural active immunity. Second one is natural active immunity, and the second one is artificial active immunity. Concentrate on first one. Sir, define natural active immunity. What is the meaning? Already I know that here. Our body, our immune system naturally exposed to antigenic protein or infectious microbe or infectious pathogen, and automatically becomes active. Natural immune system becomes active. Our body, we know already. So in nature, number of pathogens are present in. So these pathogens always try to attack on our body through few possible way. They entered in our body. Once they entered in our body and stimulate our immune system, and the next stimulated here immunity ready to give response to the stimulus. Then second type of active immunity is called artificial active immunity. Sir, what is the meaning of artificial active immunity? In artificial active immunity, already taken, what type of pathogen? Weakened pathogen. Or instead of weakened, you will take that attenuated or non-toxic. Weakened pathogen or attenuated or non-toxic pathogen is inserted in our body or injected in our body through vaccine. This attenuated or weakened or non-toxic or antigenic protein stimulate to immune system, and immune system becomes active. How activate immune system? Artificially activate the immune system through vaccines. Through the vaccines, weakened or attenuated or non-toxic pathogens are inserted. Then next are introduced. Then move toward the second type of immunity is called passive immunity. Passive immunity means, in passive immunity, transfer of antibodies from one individual to another or one individual to another. Although antibodies are formed in other individuals, such antibodies are taken in our body. In which type of immunity? Passive immunity. Already taken. This passive immunity word is taken during study of antibodies, especially during study of IgG and IgA type of antibody. IgG and IgA type of antibodies gives what type of immunity? Passive immunity. So again in passive immunity also, how many different types? In passive immunity, antibodies are derived from other, but in active immunity, antibodies are produced within our body. So active immunity is whether it is a longer or a shorter. It is a longer. Once immune system becomes effective or active, it remains longer. But which is shorter? Passive immunity is means in passive immunity antibodies are derived from others. So that immune system immune system remains active for short period, not a long period. Then next move toward the two different types of passive immunity. First one is natural passive immunity and the second one is artificial passive immunity. In natural passive immunity, example, where antibodies are formed, where in a antibodies are formed in a mother tissue. These antibodies are entered into the fetus through a organic connection. That organic connection is known as placenta. Organic connection between a mother tissue and a fetus called placenta. Through placenta only, which type of antibodies are entered? IgG, and gives protection to fetus. The next, second, one more. This is also best example to natural passive immunity. Transfer of IgA type of antibodies from mother to infant through which is rich in a antibody A colostrum, that milk, early milk, immediately after parturition, few days, that milk is rich in a which type of antibody? IgA. That type of milk is called a colostrum. This is also best example to which type of immunity? Natural passive immunity. The transferring of antibodies from one individual to other, where in both cases that antibodies are formed within the mother tissues. These antibodies are transferred into fetus. Second also, that here the antibodies are formed in a mother body. These antibodies are transferred into infant through breastfeeding. And here to develop that resistance power is developed in a infant. Next, second type of passive immunity is artificial passive immunity. Artificial passive immunity. In artificial passive immunity, already antibodies are formed or antibodies are derived from the body of other individual. Such antibodies are stored in a hospital, especially bank, like a blood bank, ice bank. So where there is antibodies are stored or preserved or kept in a bank, and especially such antibodies are used to save the life of patient during emergency condition. Example, one of the person, this he is suffering from the snake bite. Already ready-made antibodies are injected in the ready-made antibodies are introduced in the body of a patient who is suffering from the snake bite, especially to save the life. Immunity is developed. The next, in artificial, sir, give me example, sir, what type of antibodies are inserted or introduced in the body of a snake bite person? That is gamma globulin. Then next, move toward the difference between active immunity and passive immunity. In one column, active immunity, and in another column, passive immunity. First difference in first column. First difference in first column. Immunity is obtained. Immunity is obtained naturally due to exposure to pathogenic microbes or infectious microbes or antigenic protein. Then second difference in active immunity. Antibodies are formed within our body. But here in passive immunity, the antibodies are in passive immunity. Antibodies are derived from other organisms and generate immune system or activate immune system. In which type of immunity? Passive. Here antibodies are formed in our body. Antibodies are derived from other individuals. Third difference. Immunity is longer or shorter? Immunity is longer. Which type of immunity is longer? Active immunity is longer. Which is shorter? Passive immunity, it is a short-lived. Then any side effect? There is no side effect. From active immunity, but maybe chances of a side effect were in passive immunity. But in active immunity, what is required? Time is required for activation of immune system. But already here, because antibodies are derived from the other organisms or derived from the other individuals, so immediately immune system becomes active, and activated immune system is ready to attack on antigen or antigen containing protein or infectious pathogen. These are the few differences between active immunity and passive immunity. Next is vaccination and immunization. Next step is vaccination and immunization. Vaccination and immunization. Already we know that few example to the vaccines. Example: typhoid vaccine, cholera vaccine, polio vaccine, pneumonia vaccine, tetanus vaccine, influenza vaccine, whooping cough vaccine. All these are best example to vaccines. These are the different types of vaccines. So to get here, vaccination. Through vaccination, activation of through vaccine or through vaccination, activation of a immune system. Vaccine, through the vaccine, either maybe what type of pathogen is inserted or injected? Weakened pathogen is also called as attenuated. Attenuated or weakened pathogen is introduced or injected in our body through vaccine. So why weakened or attenuated pathogen is injected in our body through vaccine is to generate a immune system, or activate a immune system. For activation of immune system, weakened. Sir, give me example how stronger pathogen is converted into weakened. either may be through chemical. With the help of a specific chemical, stronger pathogen is converted into weaker. One more way, instead of chemical, one more way is also chosen by scientists through heat killed. Heat shock is given. Heat shock is given to microbes or pathogenic microbe. Automatically, here stronger microbe becomes a weakened, or means either maybe chemical or maybe heat. Two different, by use the chemical or to give the heat shock, automatically stronger or highly toxic microbe becomes a less toxic. The next, such a weakened or attenuated pathogens are injected in our body for activation of immune system. The next, different types of vaccine. Different types of vaccine. For example, first type of vaccine is called live vaccine. Second type of vaccine is called attenuated or dead. First type of vaccine is called live vaccine. Second type of vaccine is called dead, or instead of dead, better you will use the word attenuated or weakened. Then one more terminology. We have idea about that one more term, that is called as a toxide. Toxide means a toxic chemical produced by microbe or pathogenic microbe. Such a toxic chemical is converted into non-toxic, that is called toxide. The toxic chemical produced by the pathogenic microbe, that is converted into non-toxic, and such a here product is injected or introduced in our body for activation of immune system. Then another two, live vaccine. Here live vaccine, it is a convenience method. Which is a convenience method? Living microbes are introduced. Live microbe are introduced in our body, are injected in our body for activation of immune system. Such a vaccines are called live vaccine. Sir, give me example to the live vaccine. Oral polio vaccine. Oral polio vaccine is best example to live vaccine. BCG is one more. Second, BCG, Bacillus calmette-guerin. This vaccine helpful in controlling the tuberculosis disease. One more. Then next, smallpox vaccine. Then yellow fever disease is caused by viruses. These vaccines are best example to which type of vaccines? Live vaccines. Then second, dead means either maybe by selecting a chemical method or maybe taking a heat killed method. Living organisms are converted into dead. Such a dead organisms are inserted, or stronger microbes are converted into weakened. Or weakened means weakened pathogen. Such a pathogens are inserted in our body for activation of immune system. For example, today attenuated typhoid vaccine is best example to the dead or attenuated vaccine. Then move toward the another three different types of vaccine. How many different? Another three types. First generation vaccine, second generation vaccine, third generation vaccine. First generation vaccine. First means how immune system activate. The immune system activate through vaccine is called vaccination. Number of vaccines are also available. Then first generation vaccine. In first generation vaccine, this type of vaccines are produced by convenient methods. Convenient means simple method. Here in this method, what type of microbes are used? What type of microbe here? Live microbes. Living microbes are used. in a preparation of vaccine. Such a vaccines are called first generation vaccine. In first generation vaccine, maybe possibilities of side effect. There is no purification and other methods are not referred where in a production of first generation vaccine. Move toward the second generation vaccine. Second generation vaccine, but actually these are out of syllabus, but try to understand. Second generation vaccines are produced through, already we have an idea, especially this term is heard during study of biotechnology, rDNA technology. By using rDNA technology, one of the vaccine is produced, that name of the vaccine is called hepatitis B vaccine. Hepatitis B vaccine is produced by using a transgenic yeast. Have any idea about the transgenic? Transgenic yeast. Transgenic means yeast is a unicellular fungi. Yeast is a unicellular fungi. It carries genes of others. Such a yeast is called transgenic yeast. Along with their original genetic makeup, it carries one or more genes of other. Such a yeast is called transgenic yeast. Transgenic yeast is used in the production of which type of vaccine? Hepatitis B vaccine. That hepatitis B vaccine is produced through rDNA technology by using a transgenic yeast. This is example to second generation vaccine. These are not side effects. This gives next third generation vaccine. Third generation vaccines are also called third generation vaccines are also called synthetic vaccines. Synthetic vaccines. Which type of vaccines are called as a synthetic vaccine means third generation vaccines are called as a synthetic vaccines. Sir, give me example to the leukemia virus vaccine. Leukemia means the vaccine is used in the treatment of a blood cancer. Leukemia virus vaccine is a vaccine that is example to third generation vaccine. How many different types? First generation vaccine. In first generation vaccine, what type of method is selected? Convenient method. Easy method is used. Then here there is a side effect from this example. We will take that. Next, second generation vaccine. A second generation vaccine is produced through not a convenient method. rDNA, recently developed technique. Recently developed technique is used in the production of hepatitis B. Especially for the production of hepatitis B, which type of yeast is selected? Transgenic yeast is selected. In transgenic yeast, hepatitis B vaccine is produced by using which technology? rDNA. Thirdly, third generation vaccines are produced. They are also called as a synthetic vaccine. Then, what is the meaning of vaccination and immunization? How generate the immune system? The immune system is generated through vaccine. In this case, either maybe live microbes are injected or maybe non-toxic or dead microbe or attenuated or weakened microbes or pathogenic or infectious organisms are inserted through the vaccine for activation of immune system. Next is, what is the next? Next study is allergy. Define allergy. According to NCERT definition, exaggeration exaggeration of immune response, exaggeration of immune response to certain antigens present in a environment or present in a nature is called allergy. Or same definition in another way, hypersensitivity, hypersensitivity of immune system to certain antigens or instead of antigens you will use the word substances present in the nature or present in the atmosphere or present in the environment called allergy. Or sir, what is the meaning of exaggeration? Exaggerated response. Exaggerated means overactive. Which becomes a overactive? Overactivation of immune response. यहां पर क्या है देखो, सडनली देखो राइज होते ना, ओवर एक्टिव बोलते ना, अभी कौन ओवर एक्टिव हो रहा है? इम्यून सिस्टम देखो ओवर एक्टिव हो रहा है, उसका रेस्पॉन्स बहुत क्विक है, ओवर एक्टिव है। अब यहां पर देखो एग्जैगरेटेड रेस्पॉन्स, हम इधर लिखेंगे, क्या बोल के लिखेंगे इधर? एग्जैगरेटेड रेस्पॉन्स ऑफ इम्यून सिस्टम, यहां से निकलेंगे, यहां से exaggeration of response of immune system to certain antigens present in a environment. मालूम हो गए उसका रेस्पॉन्स कैसा है? रेस्पॉन्स कैसा है? ओवर एक्टिव है। और हाइपर सेंसिटिविटी ऑफ इम्यून सिस्टम टू सर्टेन एंटीजेंस प्रेजेंट इन अ नेचर कॉल्ड एलर्जी। तो ये क्या हो गया देखो, डेफिनेशन होगा, किसका डेफिनेशन होगा? एलर्जी का डेफिनेशन होगा। क्या हो गया बोलो तो, यहां पर उसका देखो ओवर एक्टिवेशन ऑफ, ओवर एक्टिव हो गए, कौन ओवर एक्टिव हो गए? ओवर एक्टिवेशन ऑफ इम्यून सिस्टम। इम्यून सिस्टम का क्या ओवर एक्टिव होगा, मालूम होगा? वो ओवर एक्टिव होगा, सो इम्यून क्या दे रहे बोलो तो, क्या करें वहां पर? Over activation of a immune system to give response to certain antigens. When immune system exposed to certain antigens and suddenly it becomes a exaggeration, or means suddenly it becomes a hypersensitivity, that is called as allergy. अब second word पढ़ेंगे. Second word means definition is finished. Move toward the those substances causes for hypersensitivity, or those substances causes for exaggeration response of immune system. Such a substances are called allergens. Those substances they stimulates to immune system and immune system becomes overactive or hypersensitivity of immune system to certain substances. Such as substances are called as allergens. Example, allergy causing substances are called in another way. Allergy causing substances are called as allergens. Sir, give me example to the allergens. First example, which is best example? Dust particle, or dust is also best example to allergen. The next already covered. When we move toward the second chapter in first unit, sexual reproduction in flowering plant, which are also best example to allergens. Pollen grains are also best example to allergen. The next Next, give me example to the. Already you have an idea about the allergy. Along with allergy, allergens. Already two examples are mentioned: dust particle, then pollen grain. Next, animal dander, animal dander. Next, what? नहीं मालूम है अभी बहुत सारे. अभी देखो इधर क्या बोल के लिखे, एलर्जी कॉजिंग क्या है, बहुत सारे सबस्टेंसेस है या एजेंट है, मालूम हो गया ना. हम इसको अलर्जेंस बोल रहे हैं. हम ऑलरेडी दो तीन एग्जांपल दिए, डस्ट एग्जांपल दिए, पोलन ग्रेन्स के एग्जांपल दिए, एनिमल डैंडर दिए. नेक्स्ट देखिए, अब और एक बात, इधर हम पीयूसी फर्स्ट ईयर में स्टडी करते जब किसके बारे में, फंगल स्पोर है. एग्जांपल, the fungi produces spores especially during which type of reproduction? Asexual reproduction. For example, we'll take that conidius spores, sporangious spores. इस spores भी nature में है. For example, fungal spores are also best example to. Fungal spores are also best example to. Also best example to allergens. All these are best example to allergen or allergy causing substances. Next, directly move toward the how reaction takes place before enter the symptoms. How that reaction takes place are allergic reaction. Next step is allergic reaction. Allergic reaction. First step, name the specialized antibody secreted. Name the specialized antibody that is related to allergy or allergic reaction. Name the type of antibody that is secreted or produced by our immune system during allergy means IgA. A specialized antibody is secreted by our immune system during allergic reaction. Then this type of antibody stimulate to immune system, then ready to secretion when antibody or immunoglobulin is secreted, and it stimulate to especially mast cells and basophils. These are ready to secrete a chemical. Name the two chemical that is secreted by IgA. IgE stimulate to secretion of two chemical. That name of the chemical is called. First one is histamine and histamine. Second one is histamine and the next is histamine and serotonin. Histamine and serotonin are the two chemicals secreted by mast cell. Then next, when these chemicals are secreted by the stimulation of IgE antibodies, then serotonin. Next is it help in increase the BP. Then dilation of a blood vessel. Dilation of a blood vessel, sir. Which blood vessel undergo dilation? Which type of blood vessel undergo dilation? Means a peripheral blood vessel. कौन सा type of blood vessel ये हो गया, expand हो गया? The peripheral blood vessel undergo expansion due to the stimulation of serotonin and histamine. Then next is in this way the secretion of huge amount of mucus. These are the symptoms seen in which type of reaction? Allergic reaction. Then next move towards the sir, which are the symptoms seen in allergic reaction or allergy? First, running nose. A huge amount of which is secreted? Mucus is secreted. When mucus is secreted in a large amount, then continuous discharge of a fluid, continuous discharge of a fluid through the nose, it is called as a running nose. First symptom. Second is a continuous sneezing. Continuous sneezing is a one more. Sneezing continuous, how many times means 10 or 15 or 20 times continuously. Along with that sneezing and rashes sometimes, where rashes occurs on the skin, that is also one more symptom. Then next, itching problem. Itching problem, that is also one more symptom of the allergy. The next, another one is watering of eyes. Watering of eyes is also one more symptom. The next, effect on breathing, means it disturbance to the respiratory system. It causes one of the disease. That name of the disease is called allergens. Also causes which disease? Asthma, bronchitis, etc. are the diseases caused by allergy causing substances are called as allergens. These are the few symptoms are seen in a which reaction? Allergic reaction or allergy. Then the patient immediately approaches to doctor, whether it is needed to repeat the allergic reaction. What happens in allergic reaction? During allergic reaction, immune system immediately releases which type of antibodies? Name the antibodies released during allergic reaction means IgA. Then IgA stimulate to IgA type of antibody. IgE type of antibodies are attached to IgE type of antibodies are attached to basophil and mast cell. Then which is attached? Allergen. Allergen is attached to which type of antibody? Allergen is attached to IgE antibody. IgE antibody is attached to basophil and mast cell. Then allergen is also attached to interlinking. Allergens, देखो इधर क्या हो रहा है? IgE ने जाके किन से अटैच होगा? बेसोफिल और मास्ट सेल को अटैच होगा, और IgE को कौन आके अटैच होगा? allergen. मालूम हो गए? ये IgE किन को स्टिमुलेट करे? मास्ट सेल को. IgE type of antibody, it stimulate to mast cell, and these mast cells are ready to secrete a huge amount of chemical. That name of the chemical is called serotonin and histamine. When serotonin and histamine are the two chemicals released by the stimulation of IgE, automatically dilation. Dilation means expansion of a peripheral blood vessel. In this case, and it also helps in a production of huge amount of mucus. It is followed by immediately the symptoms will be seen in a patient. Then lastly, treatment. Sir, how allergy is treated? Especially the peoples are the children's living in a, again, cold allergy, heat allergy. The skin is also not ready to tolerate the heat. The skin is also not ready to tolerate the cold. That is called heat allergy and cold allergy. Lastly, treatment. Have any idea about the medicine? डॉक्टर के पास गए, डॉक्टर साहब मैंने कल वो क्या करा था, घर में गर्मी हो रहा था, बहुत पसीना छूट रहा था, वो झाड़ के नीचे जाके बैठा था. जब बोले थोड़े ऊपर कीड़े वगैरह रहते हैं, वो कीड़े ऊपर आके आपके स्किन के ऊपर क्या गए, गिर गए, टच करे आपके स्किन को टॉलरेट नहीं कर लिया. मालूम हो गए, जब इम्यून सिस्टम ओवर एक्टिव होके स्किन के ऊपर क्या आने लगे, स्किन के ऊपर क्या आने लगे, रैशेस. डॉक्टर क्या बोला, कुछ भी ना को, डरो ना को, क्या हो गए, एलर्जी से हो गए, 1-2 टैबलेट और मेडिसिन लिख के दे तो कम हो जाता है बोल के बोल दिए. कौन? डॉक्टर ने. किसको? मैं डॉक्टर नहीं हूँ लेकिन भी मैं इधर ट्रीटमेंट कौन सा टैबलेट प्रिस्क्राइब कराऊंगा बोल के मैं आपको हाँ हैव एनी आइडिया गिव मी एग्जांपल हाँ एंटीहिस्टामाइन name the drugs that is used in the treatment of allergy antihistamine then steroid then adrenaline these are the drugs prescribed by the doctor especially antihistamine is a drug quickly reduces the antihistamine is a drug quickly reduces the allergy. Have any doubts about the allergy? No, especially where that those peoples are the children living in a metropolitan cities, they are more sensitive to allergy, but not those living in a villages or those living in a rural area. But who is more sensitivity? The children living in a metropolitan cities, they are very sensitive to allergy. Yes. Today finished active immunity class.